Hi there, this is Angelicate and this is my very first video, and I'm gonna start with something that I know and love. I'm gonna give you my best beginner's advice for new Dark Souls players. If you haven't played it, you should definitely give it a try. So here we are at the character creation screen, and this is my new champion Bob, and I am going to make him a Pyromancer because I think Pyromancer is a good starting class for beginners. It gives you early access to a fire spell which will come very much in handy. Any class can use any kind of gear, so it's not really that big of a deal. You just need the stats for it, but it gives you a push in the right direction when you start playing. Next up is the starting gift, for which I recommend you go for the Master Key. Most of the other stuff can be obtained in the game, but the Master Key is unique in the way that it opens some specific doors in the game. Some of those doors you might not always be ready to go through, but you will definitely notice that, since there will be a huge dude bashing your skulls in with a single blow if you go somewhere you're not prepared to go. And you'll die, and you get used to that because it's Dark Souls. The next thing is to learn to use the rolling in the game, because when you roll you become invincible for just like a short second, but it's totally enough for you to avoid getting killed. I'm gonna show you. No, I'm not gonna show you. I'm gonna get hit by that ball. Okay, that would have been a perfect moment to actually use the rolling in the game. But I use rolling a lot in combats too, to avoid getting hit. Yeah, I'm not doing too well. So here's another thing about Dark Souls. It's hard. It's gonna be really hard sometimes, but it's not impossible. If you feel like you can't beat the enemy you're facing, maybe you're supposed to go somewhere else, or maybe you need to go kill some easier dudes to just gain some souls and level up and become stronger. It's a hard game, but it's not impossible. A good place to go for practice is if you go from the Firelink Shrine and go to the right up those stairs. You will find a bunch of skeleton guys that's gonna be easy enough to beat. And they're good for practicing. You should definitely start by practicing backstabbing. That's a very useful skill that will do a ton of damage. For the next piece of advice, you need a bonfire. At the bonfire you will need 2 humanity. You might have found some lying around, or you might have gotten some from killing enemies. If you have some in your inventory, you can use that. You will need 2, and you can see that you have 2 by the number in the left top corner of the screen. I've got 2, so I'm going to start by reverse the hollowing, which means my character will return to its more human form. The second humanity that you had, you will use to kindle the flame, which means that the Estus flask that you have will contain more charges, which makes you able to use it even more. So instead of being able to use your Estus flask 5 times, ta-da, you're going to be able to use it 10 times, which will give you a lot more health to work with, and that will make it easier to defeat even more enemies.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it.
Eventually you're gonna run into this guy, and he will have a present for you, which is a white sign soapstone. That will give you the ability to call other players into your game, and it will give you the ability to let other players call you into their games. It might sound tricky, but it's really not. Just equip it, and you can go ahead and put your soul sign onto the ground, and other players will see it in their games, and they'll be able to call you into their games to have you help them with maybe a hard boss or just someone else invading their world or so. So just put it down and wait for a while, and hopefully this is gonna happen. The game is gonna tell you that you're being summoned into another player's world, and you'll join that player and you will face the enemies together. So this is my new friend Touching Elf 03, and we're gonna fight some bad guys together. Usually you'll get to help the people out with some easier enemies like these skeletons. When you enter another player's world, you don't really risk losing anything, and that's a good thing. So you can just go help someone out. You're gonna get to keep the souls you gather, and if you help them defeat a boss, a big boss, you'll also gain some humanity back. Here's kind of a hard dude I helped him out with. It's not a boss, but it's a mini boss because he won't spawn once you've killed him, but he's pretty strong, so he's hard to beat on your own. And we actually barely managed to beat him here. Yay! To do these emotes, you can just press back on your controller. And what happens now is that a dark spirit has invaded, and this is what happens when you're in human form and you can call other players into your world to help you, but you're also open for invasion, which means that other players that are more evil will be able to enter your world and try to kill you. And if they do, they get to keep your souls. But if you die, you can always pick up your souls again. So it's not that bad, but it's never fun to be killed by another player. So my new friend Touching Elf 03 and I go around killing some things here, and we move on trying to avoid the invading player who seems to have disappeared. But no, because he's a cheap dude standing there sniping our asses from a bridge with a crossbow. Chicken. Anyhow, when the player who called you into their world dies, you will return to your world, and yeah, you'll get to keep the souls you collected. And you can always just put your summon sign down again if you want to keep helping other people. If you are in human form, by using humanity at the bonfire, you can be the player that summons other players into your world, and this is what I'm doing here. I'm summoning someone called boss mode, and hopefully he's gonna help me beat the boss here. Yeah. So here's a quick rundown of my best beginner's advice for new Dark Souls players. Number 1 is to pick the Pyromancer. That will give you access to a fire spell really early on in the game, and that will come in handy. Number 2, pick the Master Key as a starting gift. That will give you access to some cool areas that might be hard to reach otherwise. Number 3, keep on rolling. Learn how to roll away from enemies to avoid getting hit by their attacks. It's really handy. Just make sure that the equipment weight on you is below 25% or at least 50%, because that will make you roll even faster. 4, the game is hard, but it's not impossible. Remember that. If you're facing a foe that seems to be impossible to beat, try going somewhere else or try leveling up some more. Number 5, kindle the bonfires. You're gonna find humanity, make sure to put it to good use by kindling the bonfire. That will give you more Estus to drink and more health to work with. And number 6, make new friends. Make sure that you use your white soapstone, help other players whenever you can. That will give you, the player, more experience and will make you a better Dark Souls player, and it's a fun part of the experience. So yeah, I hope you like this guide, and that you feel like starting a new Dark Souls character, or at least trying the game out. This is Sentinel Kate, and I'm signing off.